Good morning. So the first thing on my mind right now is Quebec because I'm not too far away. I think I'll be there before the 1st of August now. So I've just been kind of planning that section out. It's going to take me about 3 weeks to do or so. So that's going to be finishing around August the 20th. And it seems to be a very expensive section. It should be a nice trail though. Just got some trail magic from the house beside the trail. So that's the second time I've got trail magic in New Brunswick. The first time was actually at the Tim Hortons. So you may have seen the pizza I got there and the tea I got there. I didn't buy either of those. Someone bought those for me. So apparently one of the last guys that lady helped out was French Canadian. And she apparently had a lot of difficulty communicating with him and didn't really know exactly what he was saying. Which is comforting in a way because it means that there's some people here who don't know French. But it's worrying because it means that there's some people up north who don't know English. Just at 7,000 kilometers out of my 10,000 walking into Plaster Rock, New Brunswick. Here's where I'm gonna get a resupply for pretty much most of the rest of New Brunswick, because from here it seems like the trail kind of goes way off in the middle of nowhere. To buy a first full resupply in Canada. Nice cheap dollar store. I think that was my cheapest resupply in probably a month, probably more. I think it's been my cheapest resupply since maybe, I'm thinking either New York or Pennsylvania, probably southern Pennsylvania. New England is expensive, really expensive, and somehow it just gets cheaper across the border. I'm road walking for the next 80 kilometers down this road. And then from what I've seen on the map, I'm chucking a left and doing another 30 kilometers down another road. I've been walking along this road for ages, all afternoon actually. And I really need to stealth camp. There's basically no choice whatsoever in that. This is one of the only cases in which, I haven't had any of these shuttle services. I haven't had any hotels or caravan parks of any kind, so I am absolutely forced to stealth camp, which has been a relatively unique situation so far, although it does make it pretty justifiable. So I'm gonna try and find a flat spot in the forest, or more likely on this little road to camp. That's a camera. All right, so that wooded lot didn't work. How about a completely abandoned church? Maybe we'll see a place to camp behind it. There are some neighbors just next door, which I was trying to avoid, but whatever. I'm still camping behind a church now. Really makes it feel like the Alabama Roadwalk. Except without guns, I guess, without gunshots. Although I kind of wish there were more churches around here. On the Alabama Roadwalk, those churches really provided some very consistent camping opportunities. Here, there's just this one abandoned one, and that's it. Anyway, good night. On these endless roads, I'm getting the strong feeling that Canadians and Americans don't really mix as much as I thought they did. This was a pretty porous border I was passing just recently. You can present your passport and then immediately get 120 days or something in Canada or the States. But that being said, I've seen basically no mixing in terms of license plates. Like, I'm just seeing New Brunswick license plates, almost zero American ones. I think no American ones I've actually noticed. So, and then you also look at the roads, and they basically stay within each other's borders. Like, the main road through Maine just stays in Maine. The main road through Canada skirts around the outside of Maine. So, yeah, it's not really that much like Europe that way. This is very, very much Canadian. Different accents too. Check what I found on the road, walking through the middle of nowhere in New Brunswick. It's a phone. It's probably gonna be hard to repair if I decide to do that, so I might have to leave it. I've just successfully duped myself into carrying the phone to the next rubbish bin. It kind of felt bad for the environment, leaving something with a battery on the side of the highway like that, so yeah, I guess I'm doing this. Walking through Riley Brook, I just stopped by the Bear's Den motel, and the lady there actually knew about the IAT, and apparently there is a lady 1 week ahead of me doing it. I just don't see anyone on this trail. There's a reason why there is no one on this trail. Really nice place. Almost feel like canoeing. This guy named Bill Miller used to live here. Very important trail angel, basically the only reason people even did this road walk on the IAT pretty much. He built canoes in this in a few of those sheds over there, and would let hikers take them out on the river as well as lodging them. So very, very good trail angel. Unfortunately, he died a couple years ago, so I'm not having any fun through this section. It's just a boring old 80-kilometer road walk. Quick status update. I'm walking in a national park, I think in the middle of nowhere. Haven't seen any cars in about 20 minutes or so, which has been pretty nice. Good scenery. Not exactly world class, but nice scenery. I've had enough New Brunswick for today, so I'm just gonna camp somewhere on this little side road, probably here. Good night. You'd think that with skies like this, I could probably see a clear sky of stars every night, especially with no light pollution like out here, but instead, I'm kind of just seeing the same sort of haze. Not very clear stars at all. It's sort of disappointing. I have drank about 10 beers total this year. I'm not much of a beer drinker when I'm on trail, but these guys were handing me a beer, and I'm going to enjoy it because this road walk sucks. Out of the national park into what I think is a state park. It has some walking trails, including one to Mount Carleton, which is the tallest mountain, if you want to call it that, in New Brunswick. Not really too sure whether I want to do it though, because it's 10 kilometers off trail, which means I'll have to do a 10-kilometer road walk to get there, and then a 10-kilometer road walk to go back in the middle of a 120-kilometer road walk, which I'm not really too keen on, but if I can get a lift, then maybe I'll do it. People are amazing here. The ranger has just offered to give me a ride to a shower, which is within the park, which is extremely appreciated at the moment because I haven't had a shower in ages. You know, New Brunswick is the one place in which I've most consistently seen all this bilingual signage. It's absolutely everywhere. And terrifyingly enough, at this point, sometimes the French is above the English. I haven't seen that in a long time. Finally leaving the state park, not state park, provincial park. I decided to stay inside during the heat of the day, so I have lost about 3 hours, but that really doesn't matter to me anymore. I was going to try and climb Mount Carleton, but recently I found out inside the visitor center that it's half an hour's drive away from here. So it's gonna be a very, very far detour if I do try to walk there. So I decided not to. It would have been nice to go up a trail on a mountain, but that being said, I can go up other trails and other mountains with the time I saved not doing this. So I'm not going to turn this 120 kilometer road walk into a 140 kilometer road walk just by going to the base of that hill. So I'm going onward. You know, I'm not too impressed with these hills. They're kind of like the Adelaide Hills back in South Australia, which is just a local range of hills overlooking the city. So nothing too special, just these big green rolling things. And I'm kind of completely avoiding climbing them just by staying in the valleys on this road. I was pretty interested in climbing them on the Mount Carleton Trail, and there's actually a long distance trail in this region. I think it's called like the Pig Pack Trail or something like that. I forget the name. But anyway, that goes for 150 kilometers. The only issue is that goes in completely the wrong direction. So if I want to do that, then I'd have to do that. And there's no towns on trail, so no place to get resupplies. And then I would have to road walk along the coast to Campbellton, which seemed a bit tempting, but I don't have enough supplies to do it, so you know, I'm ditching that plan. Luckily, I found an ATV track next to the road, so just gonna follow this until I can find water and then a camping spot. 10 o'clock and I've stumbled across this place in the middle of the woods. It's a snowmobiling club hut for the snowmobile trail I'm walking down. I'm kind of tempted to stay here, but it's really hot in here, so I might just set up my tent outside. Something interesting for future hikers, it looks very much like this entire road walk I've done can be skipped. So that's where it is. Of course, in this area, we're not traveling on the blue trails there. Those are ATV trails. The official trail goes on the roads. So I kind of feel like you could just use the blue trails instead and cut basically all the road walking out of New Brunswick. Just a bit of an idea. Stayed at the hut, but I don't have enough water. So I moved on to this water source, which I saw stuff about in the comments. There it is, signed. My third morning on the same road walk. Waking up on the porch of this snowmobile hut. I was very lazy this morning. It's like 10 o'clock now. But all I need to do is do the last 15 kilometers of this road walk, and that's gonna take me into town. I scoured the maps. There are no road walks longer than about 10 kilometers left, I think. Things are getting more civilized entering the town of St. Quentin. A lot of the signage is still bilingual, but I'm definitely seeing more French than I am English. Apart from the government signage, everything is in French. Everything. The cashier didn't know any English. What world have I entered? Just had another long stint at Tim Hortons, just charging my stuff. I was trying to order some stuff as well, like I was trying to order a hot chocolate, but I couldn't do it because they couldn't take card. But that's alright. Got some stuff charged up, I can make it to the next town. So something that absolutely pissed me off, I forgot my trekking poles. I left them at Tim Hortons, and Tim Hortons is now like 2.5 kilometers away because I've already walked back to the trail, then realized I forgot them, and now I'm walking back. 10 kilometers is what I have to add to get to this from the trail and back to the trail, and then back to this thing, then back to the trail because I forgot my trekking poles. 10 kilometers. But as a present to myself, I usually don't do this for town walks. I'm going to give that 10 kilometers as part of my 10,000, so that's 10 kilometers I won't have to do some other place. But I'm liking New Brunswick less and less. I don't care that this is not connected to the trail itself, but I'm not loving this. Another very late start this morning, but that's fine. I think I'll actually walk into the night this time. As you can see, slightly gloomier weather today. Sitting inside this library as I am about to upload and charge some stuff, update my phone operating system. Check this out. All this stuff, it's all in French, 100% of it. That's incredible. Still crazy to me how incredibly French speaking this whole place is. So many words I cannot understand. I'm trying to get better at it though. I've been stuck here for 2.5 hours doing a software update for my phone, but now I'm gonna leave, finally. I'm slowly picking up a tiny bit of French just by listening to people and talking with people here. Another thing slowing me down, since the factory reset, I haven't been able to connect to mobile data, which is understandably, obviously pretty annoying. And then there's also this rainstorm, which I don't really know will end, so I'm just resting under here and seeing if I can solve that issue. The worst kind of tragedy has struck. I'm outside the library again because I left my tent in there. And the library is closed. There's no police department. I cannot really call numbers. And ever since I've updated my phone, calling and data haven't worked. So I'm stuck outside here. I apologize if it's a bit dark, but it turned out that having my plans absolutely ruined by that whole thing with the tent came as a massive blessing because I was helped out. Some people got in contact with the librarian, and then as I was walking out with the tent that the librarian managed to give me, I was offered a place to stay for the night. So now I'm sleeping in a real bed after having been given plenty of real food, and things could not be better. Anyway, good night.
Quand je suis arrivé, je ne savais pas comment entrer. Il n'y avait aucune poignée. J'ai poussé un panneau vitré qui...
Marcel was absolutely amazing as a host. I was just offered a place to stay, just walking down the sidewalk. So as it turns out, losing my tent inside that library was very, very much a blessing in disguise. There are 2 networks my roaming data connects to in this region. One of them is giving me great service. The other one is giving me absolutely appalling service. And unfortunately, guess what network this phone decides to connect to. I absolutely love the beautiful Canadian scenery we have here. Here's another snowmobile shelter. Seems to be built on top of a trailer. Lots of wood. I can pretty easily see why. It must get cold in the winter. Hopefully it's unlocked. Oh yes! As much as I bashed New Brunswick, the last couple of hours have actually been really nice. It's all been going down this big long river valley with this cascading creek, which is great, really. I've just been sitting in my tent. It's been raining ever since I woke up. Hopefully this rain stops pretty soon because I really don't feel like hiking in it. And once the rain stops, I think it's only one day of hiking until I get to another province of Canada, finally. You know, after the first few ATV trails in Maine, I wasn't expecting to like any of them. But this one in New Brunswick is pretty top class. So I was just walking into the very last town in New Brunswick. I saw this sign, very strange to see it. It's like a completely out of the blue reminder that this trail I'm walking on actually exists. So to give you an indication of those signs, of those blazes, I've only seen about a dozen the entire way through on this section through New Brunswick. But this exists. Onward. I've been having a pretty nice road walk to cap off the day. Right there across that river is Quebec. That's it, people. I'm walking into Quebec right now. And just like all the really big changes on this journey, it's on a bridge over a river with a railway bridge not too far away. I remember crossing out of the Virginias, the longest state or province of the entire journey, other than Florida. That was on a bridge. And I remember getting into New England. The Hudson River wasn't too far away from that. That was also on a bridge. And passing some train tracks. And now I'm going into the deep part of French Canada, last province of the entire section, of the entire trail, last province of the entire trail, last trail of the entire trail, and apparently the most scenic part of my entire journey. Wish me luck. And now it's official. It's been a 50-kilometer day, so it's pretty, my legs are a bit stiff at this point, but that's it, Quebec. So I'm standing behind the back of a closed ice cream stall that's on the side of the road. And I'm pretty desperate for water, and I'm kind of looking at these buckets full of water. And I'm sort of going, what is the context exactly behind this? Is this safe? I'm not sure. Road walking through Matapedia right now, and finally the trail actually kind of resumes. So this is the first time that I'm going to be on an IAT purpose-built trail for about 300 kilometers. It looks like a really well-paved one, at least to start with. I'm gonna check out the campground first, because I know there's a campground just up near the start of this trail. So I just got my first glimpse of one of Quebec's classic refuges. This isn't just a shelter, this is a hut. Kind of ice and trail style, at least it would have been if they had an indoor sink. But as it is, way better than any of the Appalachian Trail shelters. Absolutely better than any of them, I think. Nice and enclosed. I'm gonna stay outside though, because it's kind of hot in there. So I think I'll pitch my tent. So I knew there was a lookout up here, not too far away from the shelter. What I had no idea about is how well lit it is at night. I don't actually know what that says. And here we have our first solid view in Quebec. Cannot see too much apart from the lights of town, but we'll change that in the morning. Good night. I'm psyched about this trail.